whoever's listening, guys, welcome back and welcome to another episode of the Man with a Plan podcast. I told you when we interviewed Ronan Hannafin that we had plenty of more guests on the way, and it couldn't have come at a better time, Ian. Welcome to the podcast, man. On the heels of an historic victory in North Carolina, Ian Schieffelin is joining us on the Man with a Plan podcast. Ian, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Doing all right. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And so I think it would be remiss if we didn't start with Tuesday night in North Carolina, the second win all time for Clemson basketball inside the Dean Dome. And let's just go through that evening. I want to talk about just the message throughout the game. You guys started out really strong and battled and responded. It felt like every time UNC got close, y'all had an answer and a response. What was the message like pregame in the locker room? Because I know you guys talked about we're not worried about having an upset per se. But
hmm
what was the message going out and having that strong start?
just expecting to win. The record's there. We were 1-60 going into the game, and we didn't think much of it. Honestly, we probably thought more of it after the game once it turned to 2-60. But just knowing that we could win any game. We've played in some tough games, and we've ended up on the short side of the stick a couple times, and we played very well, and it was good to get us a win. So.
When you look at the overall picture of where you guys stand currently, resume wise, net ranking wise, is it ever like dawn on you that, hey, this is the signature win that people will be looking at saying this is why Clemson's going to be in the tournament in March? Does that ever occur to your mind, or is that kind of something you have to shut out?
We take every game kind of the same. It's definitely better. It's a good win to go to UNC and beat the number 3 team in the country. But all these wins, you can't take any game lightly or take it any differently. You got to play every game. So kind of how we approach everything.
At any point in that game, was there just a different kind of feeling in the air? It felt like one of those Sweet 16 matchups. The energy that I got with the crowd behind UNC, with you guys battling at every turn. Was there a specific moment in that game where you remembered where it kind of clicked with you? Oh, we're gonna pull this off.
From the jump, just off the tip, I'm smiling, I'm ready to go. I think we played them pretty well here. We didn't make many shots and game didn't go our way, but we were confident going into that game that we were going to be able to compete with them and make it a good game. And, we came out firing and, we held the lead pretty much the whole game. And I don't think they ended up taking the lead. So, we were ready to play.
I gotta ask you about. I think it was closer to the end of the second half. Is that pose you made? It got viral on Twitter. Is there like with your personality on the court? Is there something or a specific way you try to carry yourself? Because every time I'm listening to a game on the road, because I'm usually at Little John covering the games, they're
Mhm.
always in awe of just the way you carry yourself. They're like, "Oh, Ian Schieffelin, man, that guy." They call you a dog. They call you this, and that. Like, what's that personality that kind of translates to the court with you?
Yeah, one of my mottos is just don't let anyone outwork you. And, that kind of comes with the confidence. I have the confidence to, celebrate a little bit and feel like you know, I'm going to outwork this guy and I can celebrate it and give my team some energy and, just kind of keep the team up and, like we're all right. Like we can be a little free and, celebrate, when we're doing good and, it's just kind of happens. Yeah.
Yeah. And everyone's talking about Clemson. The energy feels like it's back from the 11-1 start. Things are buzzing again. And something that really points out to me, and moving more off of the North Carolina game, but just in general, is the attitude on campus. And this is why I wanted to have you on the podcast and talking to Ben was when I'm talking to people about Clemson basketball, we're not talking about Joseph Gerard and the transfer. We're not talking about PJ Hall. We're talking about you. Everyone's so excited about just that element that you bring. And the people will see you like, Grayson, did you see Ian? He get that guy a stare down after that layup there. Like, I kind of like the energy there. And so people on campus started to really talk about you. Have you kind of noticed that in any sense? Anybody stopping you being like, oh, that was awesome yesterday? Just what has that been like as Clemson sort of transcended as basketball has become the main focus on campus?
Yeah, it's definitely more people are definitely starting to notice who I am, and it's cool. It's do all the dirty work and do all the stuff, and everybody else does kind of the flashy stuff, which is okay. Like that's my role, and I love that. And you know, I love when people come up to me and just say like, "Good job! Like you work really hard." It's like like that makes me feel good, makes me want to do it more. So
Yeah, absolutely. And You notice, I think it was Grid After Dark Part 2 with Louisville. It was either that or Virginia where they wore the chef hats. Do you ever notice that? And you just kind of like, oh, do you have a story maybe by chance of how the chef name came to be? Was that the teammates or was that something that the fan base came up with?
Um, it's actually kind of weird. Just so like in high school, my coach always called me John Wick, and that was just because I had long hair and he just thought it's killing everybody. So that was my first nickname. And then I got here and people really just didn't know how to pronounce my last name, and it's just Schieffelin. And then just everyone just started calling me Chef to keep it short, and just kind of stuck. And it's starting to pick it. People are starting to just all call me Chef, and it's pretty cool. So
You said that people have trouble pronouncing your last name. Is there a crazier pronunciation of that comes to mind?
no, I mean I get Schieffelin a lot. Uh, some people don't even try, but
They just stick with Ian.
I mean, yeah, I understand too. I'd look at it too and probably be like, wow, this is a long last name. So
Yeah, I guess whatever works. And they see number 4 on the court doing work. And just a last touch on that campus thing. Do you ever think about, oh, when we get to March and talking about the tournament, just that I've seen several things about March that really stick out to me is certain schools become sort of the gem of the country, whether it was St. Peter's a couple years back, Fairleigh Dickinson taking down Purdue, and some of these not that Clemson would be considered a Cinderella team by chance, but just to catch the eyes of the country. Is that something that you guys are thinking about in the locker room? Is if we get a chance on the national stage, we really want to take advantage of that like y'all did on Tuesday night?
I mean, definitely. We think we can compete with anybody in the country. We proved it. We went to Alabama, won there, beat South Carolina. They're playing as good as anybody in the country. Just beat UNC. They've been playing well. I mean, we don't go into any game thinking like we're the underdog. Honestly, we feel like we've competed every single game we've played, and sometimes we beat ourselves, and sometimes shots just don't fall. And every game we feel like we can win. So I think this team's poised to do some great things.
I want to go back to March of last year, and I think the prevailing thought around here, and certainly within my thought, was that Clemson had a strong enough resume to make the tournament. Ends up not being the case, and Brownell, in one of the I think it was preseason conversations we had with him, he said that those 2 days where y'all had been told no for the tournament, it said it was one of the numb experiences of his coaching career, and that ends up translating into the NIT against Morehead State. Just talk about that moment and how that kind of sparked the offseason, because he said that was a pivotal moment for this year and said we wanted to leave no doubt. What were those moments like for you personally, and how was that sparked? How did that spark your training in the offseason?
Yeah, just sitting up, we were sitting in the Coliseum Club, and I was sitting next to just Hunter and Hunter Tyson, and you know, just that man just worked so hard, and it was just kind of you just feel for like people like that. Like, I mean, he worked so hard, and we felt like we'd done enough to make the tournament, and it ended up not being that way, and it hurt us, and it led to a great offseason for us, especially the people that were here, and even the people that weren't here, they realized, what had happened, and like it was just fuel to our fire that we weren't gonna let that happen again, and you know, and we worked as hard as we could. I mean, we did extra conditioning, we did a lot of extra work this summer, and I mean it's paid off. So
Yeah, for sure. And on the heels of another win, potentially one that people will look back on and say that was the one that potentially clinched their fate per se. It's always a weird word, Ian, about like the tournament is that you leave it into it's like the CFP when you leave it into a different group of
mhm.
people's hands. So you have to do all you can in the regular season. So I
Yeah.
can't imagine it's got to be stressful, I imagine. But uh, looking into this season specifically for you, I think it was a question that either me or I don't know who specifically asked it, but you had came out the season rolling. It was a really strong start. We talk about these 2 games against UNC, both double doubles. So we asked Brad Brownell about just your success, and he said that we knew he was always capable of this, but it was the belief for Ian that he could do it. And I'd love to hear what that quote means to you, talking about where did that personal belief come from, and how was that unlocked? Was it maybe a game or a practice where things just click? Because I talked to, I think it was Chauncey Wiggins about that early in the season. So yeah, it's just one shot, and it's like, oh, like something just clicks inside of you. So what was that like personally for you, finding that specific belief on the court, or maybe it was something off the court?
Yeah, you know, just like getting the summer of my freshman year, I got here and it was just really hard. And, it was like, wow, this is a lot harder than I really thought it would be. And it made me work harder. And, that was a tough summer for me, but, it helped me to where I am today. And I think just going through that tough summer helps me so much with my career now, because I know how hard you have to work and just get to where I need to be just to be the best I can. And I had several good games my freshman year, and that definitely helped my confidence going to sophomore year. And the people around you also help build your confidence. Like, I mean, Hunt always built up my confidence. PJ always builds up my confidence. Just the people around you help to build you, make you comfortable, and just being around great people have helped me to where I am today.
What has it been like working with PJ this year? Is there a different element to him with this? Definitely, this last year was more of like, oh, it could go to the NBA, could run it back one more year. Is there a different fire within him this year that he knows specifically himself? This is the last time he gets to wear orange and potentially make a run for the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, like we both were a part of that team that lost last year, and we didn't make the tournament. And, there was a chip on our shoulder. Like there was just something that needed to be completed that we did not complete, and it built fire for us. And we both came into this year just ready to attack. And I mean, PJ's been playing as well as anybody in the country, and that's due to him and his hard work. So I mean, I'm grateful to be able to watch that, and it helps me work harder. So
Absolutely. And just to quickly touch on Gerard and the impact. I mean, last night or Tuesday night, sorry, had a phenomenal game against UNC. The thing that I describe him, and I'd love for you to be able to potentially, because you'll know a lot more about me on this, on the court, is that for the big games that you guys have won, feels like Gerard knows when to really step it off offensively. I call him a really timely shooter, and it's more positive than like he doesn't. But anyways, it's more like when the moment really calls for it, and they need, hey, we need a three from Gerard to really either extend this lead and prevent this run going on, or we need something to really spark the offense. He's usually there to provide that. Would that be an accurate assessment?
I totally agree, and I don't think I'd want anyone else shooting it. I mean, the dude's third all time in threes in the conference, and it's like you can't. Not many teams can say they've ever had that, like in ever. And I mean, the dude's always ready to step up, and he makes big shots, and he's wide open. I think it's going in every time, and the guy can shoot the ball.
Absolutely. And before we get into a couple rapid fire, I want to kind of get some questions out of that. Just Clemson's been posting about a lot about your statistical improvement this year. We were one of the few players in the ACC close to averaging a double-double while adding a couple assists to that. And someone on that list is Tim Duncan, just a casual name to throw out there from Wake Forest and San Antonio. To be in that specific list with someone of that NBA pedigree and just one of the greatest basketball players of all time, do you look at that and ever just like, oh, this is awesome? Or is it just more like there's more to work, I guess?
It's always great to stop and like, seeing a name like Tim Duncan with mine is just like, as a kid, I never would have thought like this would ever be happening. And when you do see it, it makes you want to work even harder and be like, wow, like I can really do this. And like, I can like I'm good. Like, it's definitely like a huge achievement to be like just my name with Tim Duncan. So
Absolutely. So we're going to get into some rapid fire, Ian, before we wrap up here, and really appreciate the time you've been able to provide for us. So the first question I have, and this came up from the Instagram video that Clemson basketball posted after the UNC game. I think PJ Hall was dancing, and I could see you in the background, and I think I heard a boo. Was that true?
probably it's probably me too. Yeah.
Is he not a great dancer in your eyes?
No, he's not. He tries his hardest and he brings fire, but man, he cannot dance.
Can you
Yeah.
dance?
No. So, but I will not dance either. So I know my limitations.
You know your limitations off the court. That's good. Is there someone on the team that you would prefer to take the lead on that?
Probably RJ. RJ brings some decent dance moves with some good energy. So he'd
Yeah.
probably be motivated to just, get in the circle and just start doing whatever he does.
So something I talked to Ben about was this Fortnite trend that I think it was Gerard that was constantly talking about. Is there some sort of Fortnite obsession on this basketball team, or is that kind of past over time?
It's kind of died down, you know.
Oh man.
When the OG Fortnite was back for those couple of weeks, we were all playing on it, and Chauncey Wiggins was big on dubs in the chat, and kind of just stuck because he thought he was a streamer and all this, and we were just like, okay, bro, and you know, but we were hooked on it for a while, and it has died down a little bit, but you know, we still kind of, you know, me and RG always hit the L dance before the game, and there's still some things that we still do Fortnite wise.
Some things truly never die, Ian, and I guess those dance moves are one of them. But well, you had it here first. Exclusive on the podcast, PJ Hall. You got to improve your dance moves, man. You can come on the podcast and defend it if you want to. Defend your accusation on Ian. Ian, a couple more questions about your game specifically. Is there someone that when you came into Clemson that you were attempting to model your game after, or maybe it's a player you watched growing up?
You know, I've always loved watching Kevin Love play, and just the way he was able to rebound and, you know, stretch the floor, just especially during that time, was very valuable. And like not many players were as skilled at it as there is now. And just I watched a lot of his games, you know, when he was on the Timberwolves, he was probably his better years, but he just always fit his role very well and did what he could. And it's probably one of the players I really thought like I could, you know, kind of model and play just like.
And just a couple on the game. Is there a particular game or in your entire career that stands out as your most memorable?
Um, Probably that one, honestly.
Ah,
That
yeah,
one,
there we go.
that game was really good for us. Duke last year was also very good. That was a fun game, and Alabama this year was also a great game for us. All great wins and just, you know, celebrating with teams. Just I'll always remember it.
We talked about Hunter Tyson being so pivotal from last year. Has he communicated with you guys at all? Especially after some big wins like against UNC?
Yeah, he was the first one to text us Tuesday. You know, he was like big win guys, you know, way to get it back going, and you know, he's still just the leader he's always been. So he's been great for us.
And a couple, I keep saying a couple more, but there's always stuff that pops in my head. If you could describe Brad Brownell with a couple words, what would that be?
He's a leader. I mean, you know, he's a smart coach, and he gives us the best game plan every game, and you know, he leads us and gives us confidence to do everything on the court, and you know, he's just a great coach.
Last question. Clemson makes a run in this tournament. Why is that?
We're so connected. This team is just we care for each other, and you know, a lot of teams don't have that, and that's going to be what, you know, just puts us over the top in like close games, and you know, we don't separate often, and you know, we're a connected team, and it'll take us far.
All righty. That was Ian Schieffelin. Do you have any more final thoughts before we wrap things up here?
I think I'm good. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. That was Ian Schieffelin, guys. It was a great 20, I think 20 minutes conversation previewing UNC, talking about PJ Hall's dance moves all over the place, guys. You know, we try to cover everything here at the podcast. That was episode 155. If you like more of this and want to let Ian know you enjoyed the episode, I'll leave his Twitter in the description down below so you can go follow him and let me know that I sent you. Guys, thank you as always for tuning in to the podcast, and stay tuned for more Clemson basketball and some more guests in the future. Thanks for always listening. Take care and have a great day.